So religion is complete bullshit. The whole thing, all the morality too. I can't even go to a philosophy page without finding like contaminated morals. The whole thing is designed to numb you and then manipulate your emotions to take away your stuff. You know, if the if the miracle of Jesus with the fish was true, the priests wouldn't need money. There'd be a hand waver behind the stage generating piles of cash. You know what I mean? But we know that doesn't happen. They need your money, and the austenacity of the church, right? They'll take a piece of your dick. They'll take the cover off your dick so it's always exposed, and they don't give you any money for it. None. We walk into a Catholic church, they're not giving you a single handout. That's a one-way relationship. All of everything you have is going to them. And they even call themselves, they even teach secretly that the Father is the incarnation of the Heavenly Father. There are priests in front of the Catholic Church who are married with kids, you know what I mean? They have a home, right? It's just a hustle for them. Anyway, they'll take a piece of your dick off, but they won't give you a fucking dime, right? For you gotta feel naughty about yourself and be careful, because the threat in the Bible is that if you sin, they'll take the rest off. It's really how it is. Men are the enemy. Well, the Bible's written by cucks, you know. It's, the Great Flood never happened. There's no evidence of a Great Flood. Now, there are seashells at high altitude, and that's everywhere, but we know now why. We don't think it was because of a flood anymore. There was no evidence there were 2 million Jews in Egypt. The whole Moses story is extremely sus. It doesn't look like it really happened. It just doesn't. There's no evidence 2 million Jews left Egypt all of a sudden, you know? And there's no evidence they walked through the desert, none that anyone has found. So it's likely, if that's wrong, then the Tower of Babel's also wrong, so is Adam and Eve. Which, if we know from reading other creation myths, because I've heard a lot of creation myths, and they're all wacky. They all teach really bizarre things. There's a Native American myth that says birth happens through an armpit, which is kind of interesting. They don't mean down there, they mean right here. Who knows? Yeah. Wacky stuff, anyway. It's pissing me off because, like, that shit, all the music, all the hallelujahs, all the praise, all the speaking in tongues, all the yada, 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 all of that, every nighttime prayer has been a fucking fraud. It's just been a travesty. Some people imagining it. There's no reason to genitally mutilate your young men. Even the Bible at parts questions that. I'm pissed off my parents did that to me. Fucking idiots. You don't think I wouldn't have wanted that part? Jerks. They don't give you any money. Nope. They don't give you a fucking penny. Not a fucking penny. They don't give you a dime. But they'll take a piece of your dick off. You know, when I was out here earlier saying, fuck people, you know, do you feel it? Do you understand? I'm kind of pissed off. You lied. The book swearing it was telling you the truth. The thing doing, hi, hallelujah. Oh, no, this is real. God told me to tell you. God told me to tell you some shit. You're never gonna believe it. Because it's made up. Fucking lies. Evil. Also, you don't touch the priest's girl. That's all it is. Just so you keep your hands off another boy's woman. That's all it is. Old men do it to young men. You know how quick and how soon I saw old men backstab, throw under the bus, and try to get with the young man's girl? Oh, all the time. Every dad does it to his son. You think your dad's gonna be like, I'm gonna make my son a winner. I'm gonna boost him up. It's about him. No. Dad's cooler than you are. And dad is gonna get you go. Swear to God, that's people. They're fucking. A lot of people have commented. Religion is just not true. Like I've done the silent prayers. I've done all of that, all the begging, all the asking, and shit happens for it. It's nothing. What do you expect to happen? They tell you it will, and then some circumstance. It's like, I prayed to God for a girlfriend. I met a girl. Yeah, there's a lot of girls. You're gonna meet a girl, but do you always meet a girl immediately after praying every time? That sort of thing. But anyway. And that shit's just fake anyway. Like, what, you want to fall in love? That's just to have a baby. You only care about that piece of shit until it's fucking that number 3. Until it's old enough to take care of itself. You think, like, life is a complete travesty compared to what it could be. They say God is love, but that's more like poisoning the wound. There's no evidence God is love. What love? Where? When? When does that happen? Because I have done the hours and hours required of rigorous meditation, rigorous yoga meditation to experience divine states of consciousness. And let me tell you, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There's no enlightened state of consciousness. Just like these people had you going out into the wilderness looking for stillness. Well, they had never done that. These are humans we're talking about. They never found stillness. We know that because this thing's not a plate, it's a ball. And because of satellites, we know about island arpeggios and we know about plate tectonics. Plate tectonics is 80 years old. People had no idea the Earth had a top crust that was moving. Right? They didn't have a clue. But we do now know because we've taken looks top down. And we've seen things differently and went like, oh. Yeah, island arpeggios are interesting because you have a source, a volcanic source, and as the top plate moves, it makes island, 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 island. And they all look like that. And you can actually map out where's moving where based on how island arpeggios are popping up, right? It's interesting stuff, and it's not that simple, right? You can't say it's all plate tectonics because there's just a slosh. There's a slosh to this thing, right? They were saying earlier Mount Everest. Yeah, the stuff at the top of Mount Everest was at the bottom of the seafloor. But, they didn't know that. They thought it was a fucking great flood. So, and they've been modifying baby pee-pees, pissing me off, and lying to you about morality. Oh, the biggest thing is you should obey God, right? Do what he said. We'll tell you a story about it, unverifiable. And you will be compelled to believe it. There has been a 2,000-year fucking death cult of Christians who have said that this thing is the truth. Swear it to God, we all know it. Bear witness to Jesus. Right? Nobody's ever borne witness to Jesus. Yahweh didn't tell you shit. There's still if you were talking for God, there's still the 5-digit number test. Can you guess a written 5-digit number when it's inside a blinded piece of paper like an envelope? Can you guess what that is? If you had a real God with you, it would be easy. The God would just do whatever a God does to get in there and know. But if you can't guess that 5-digit number, then it means you're not psychic and you're not talking to God. You're just deluded. You're just like, the human centipede. You're like 10 billion people in. You're 10 billion deluded motherfuckers into this thing, drinking the ass water of everybody else. That's what religion is now. You got years of theology based on Spider-Man, essentially. It's just not true. It's just not real. There's no Adam and Eve. There's no 7-day requirement. No, it's gobbledygook. It is gobbledygook. It's poopy stuff. It's not real. If you were doing miracles, I want to meet you, but the number of people who answer that are very few. And I've seen magicians. You can't fool me with some stagecraft. If I can't see how it's done, I still am going to assume there's a method, that there's just an easy way that... Far as I know, no one's ever passed the 5-digit number test, you know what I'm saying? They've never put their hand on the envelope and been like, these are the exact digits, right? It's never happened. And it would be the surefire litmus test, is you could do it all the time. Well, no one's pulled that out yet. And so every religion's different. You know, you got the Hare Krishnas, you got this guy Derp trying to convince you that there's a little blue man who lives in the sky, literally. He calls you a fool unless you agree to believe there's a little blue man living in the sky. What am I supposed to think about that? I mean, Santa Claus is kind of nice. You're like, yeah. Well, there is no Santa Claus. You know, Jesus isn't going to wave his magic baton and there won't suddenly be fish. Like, the whole argument from the Bible is you don't need to work. You can just go shout about God and beg, which is what the strategy is. That's what it's about. The morality, too. It's harder for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Well, he's trying to dissuade you from your things. He literally is. Every morality in the Bible is trying to dissuade you from your stuff. Take your stuff, take your time, even take your sexual independence. It wants all of it. And it's not giving you anything. It's just fucking turning you loose on the world. Go out there and tell other people how this didn't work for you. Show me his girlfriend, right? Show me his family. Show me his stuff. If that dude is really prospering, if he's got love, success, you know, if he's flourishing, okay, that's interesting. If that's everybody, great, you figured it out. But if it's only the priest, you know what I'm saying? If it's only the pastor, if everyone going to the church is in hell because you've got the belief that God came to give a sword and divide you and all. Ugh. That can't be good. And I was told as a baby, the reason they did that to me was because I'm a sinner. You're a sinner first. You're wrong to begin with. And you need this special amelioration. Which, by the way, the early histories aren't provable. They aren't provable. It looks like they didn't happen. It looks like people were telling what they thought was a true enough story. Does that make sense? But it wasn't. It just isn't real. Like, unless if you're watching this and there's because you got to test any evidence they come up with. People are willing to fake evidence for Christianity. We've proven this. That, yeah, they do. They fake evidence for Christianity. They will fake and lie and say there's evidence, and they'll try really hard to hide it. We've caught people doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe any of it. I think it's just made up. I think Jesus was an invented person. I do. And the cosmic situation where there's been a fall due to disobedience, and now we're all about to go to hell, but you need the blood sacrifice of Jesus and maybe his leadership. Because even the Bible's like, only 144,000 are making it. The Bible is like, once the delusion is pulled off and you know it's written by a man, then it gets like, you motherfucker, you twisted son of a bitch. But yeah, the thing swearing to you it was telling you the truth, the thing that was saying liars go to hell, I wouldn't lie to you, blah, 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 the thing was lying to you. And if you've never met a human, I remember meeting humans that were like that growing up, you know, like this person is just going to swindle you out of your socks. That's what he wants, you know what I mean? He's not, you know... Guys learn not to trust guys. Like, as a guy, no guy is my friend. You fucking kidding me? And the only time guys will leave you alone is if it's clear you don't have any chicks. If you got no chicks, they won't bother you. They will leave you alone. That's how they are. They don't want anything to do with you. But they will go home and secretly become afraid that you would take their women. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the way you see, like, squirrels or dogs bark at each other, that's humans. Humans aren't much better than that most of the time. Well, that's why aliens haven't visited. They're fucking territorial. This is my stuff. That's every person. This is my stuff. Don't touch it. That's every human. That's every human. These are my women. Don't touch it. You know, if you're a guy and you want to get a girl, you got to be willing to take that girl. You're not the first person to like that girl, right? You're definitely not. And so the whole thing gets really weird. The whole thing is really weird. Like, yeah. The whole like having and breeding, you just got to be a winner as a guy. If you want to have it all, you really have to be alpha dominant, and it's not about good. There's no path to righteousness that way. If they're afraid of you, you can do anything you want. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always been. They will worship you if they're afraid of you. You know what I'm saying? The path of niceness and sweetness is like, it's a strategy for losers. Maybe everyone will be nice today. No, probably not. I doubt it. It never happened before, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. Religion's made up. Even the idea of telling the truth comes from religion, and it's early histories just aren't accurate. They're just not accurate. And so the whole thing is sus. And that means the whole thing's not real, like the angels at the tomb. The later the book in the Bible, the more angels are at the tomb with Jesus. It's definitively like one. And then it's definitively two, and then it's definitively many, and then it's definitively a ton, right? So the Bible with Jacob too, the author, whoever made it up, lets you know he's making it up because some of the characters just tell you that they're not moral that way. You know what I mean? Like the story of Jacob. Jacob lied to steal his brother's inheritance. He pretended to be somebody he wasn't. And then he went out into nature and said God told him he was the chosen one. Well, there's never been a chosen one. No one has ever spoken for God. Every single person who said, God told me to tell you this, was lying. It just wasn't true. There's no Adam and Eve. We come from chimpanzees. The parts that make up a chimpanzee arm looks almost identical to a man's. Nature hasn't innovated. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty clear that life's about breeding and surviving. What your offspring look like, you know, is the only real definitive structure. And so that's why, like, gay people are fake. Gay people are fake as fuck. If you don't have kids, you don't procreate. You don't go on. Now, maybe it's better, right? Like, it's easier to lift a box with two people than one. Men who love each other probably have a superior society than to men who fight each other constantly, right? Like, I've never betrayed my brother's girlfriend. Ever. Ever. Right? But that being said, I've never trusted my girlfriend with any of my brothers anyway. If I'm not there with eyes on it, she is not with me. You know what I'm saying? I know people. They're dirty. They're dirty. I've gotten gropes and touches from beautiful blondes with rings this big. You kidding me? I just met you. She's like, doing this. And I'm like, you're not. They don't care. They have no responsibility toward what biblical morality is. And it's kind of a shock. The people talking about the Bible were just straight up lying. I really am. That's been blowing my mind. The people talking about the Bible were just lying. It's made up. It's a fiction. It's a phooey. It's a wet dream. That's all it is. It's as real as Spider-Man. All right? And it's taken over morality. You don't sound like you got a moral sense unless you're copying the Bible, which doesn't make any sense because we know it's not true. There was no great flood. There was no Adam and Eve. Tower of Babel is made up. It's a fictitious history. And you're right for questioning it. The thing swearing it was telling you the truth was lying the whole time.